Welcome to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network with your hostess, Jen Josie. Join like-minded real estate investors and accelerate your business towards greatness. You will hear step-by-step strategies for success, interviews with real estate rock stars, and we will dig deep into past projects where we bear it all, including the good, the bad, and some just plain ugly. So get excited. Here's the bestower of badassery herself, the real Jen Josie. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, and welcome back. I'm Jen Josie, creator of RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Whoop, whoop. On today's episode, we have a special guest that will be sharing their badassery. But before we begin, here's today's badassery bestowment, my little badass gift to you. Today's topic is sharing your vision. In the past, I've encouraged my listeners to create a vision board and display it in a place where you can see it often. But to go a step further, I want you to share your vision board with others. Yes, vision boards can be very personal, but I challenge you to post a picture of it on social media. You will find that once you share your vision, some people will want to help you make it happen. Some will introduce you to friends and resources that can help you. You will also find that the more you share your vision, it becomes clearer and feels more real and attainable. But most important, every time you share your vision, you strengthen your own subconscious belief that you can truly achieve it. So, what are you waiting for? Snap a picture of that vision board and share it today. Then watch how quickly that vision becomes a reality. Now, on to today's episode of the Real Estate Investor Growth Network podcast. We have with us a total badass dominating the real estate industry in Ohio. I first met her in Jamaica at a real estate investor mastermind. We kept ending up together at the same excursions. She was quiet and kind of kept to herself, but we connected on Facebook before we headed home. Now, after some Facebook stalking, I had no idea that I was in the presence of total badassery. We recently attended another mastermind together, this time in the Dominican Republic, where I got to know her much better. I am so excited. Welcome to the show, Misty Linn. Yay! Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yay! I'm so excited to have you, Misty. I love following you on Facebook. You are a total badass. So I need to hear everything. I want to be just like you. So where'd you grow up? Where are you from? Let's start there. Let's start at the beginning.
Start at the beginning. Okay. I'm originally from the Akron area. Grew up in Akron. My mom had me when she was a wee child herself. She had me when she was 16. So mom and I kind of grew up together. And I have 3 siblings, and I'm the only child from my mom and my dad, but they're still my siblings. And grew up in Akron, went to the University of Akron, moved to Columbus in 2001. And I've been in the Columbus market ever since.
And like I said, you are this total badass. I'm going to let you tell everything, but how did you get started in real estate?
Real estate was never a visual path for me. I started working when I was 15. My dad cleaned beer lines, and I became a salad girl at a restaurant. I
drink out of beer lines.
Right. As why. But yeah, it's as a typical, growing up, you're like, okay, here's the path, right? We finished high school. We're supposed to go to college. We're supposed to get a job, go live that corporate life. I started working with kids with disabilities at elementary school. I did that for 5 years. And doing that for 5 years, I knew that wasn't what I was meant to do. It felt a little bit more like a glorified babysitting position for me. With kids, you can make a little bit of a difference, but in a school system, your hands are kind of tied with the bureaucracy of the school system.
Oh, I hear you. I was in education for 16 years myself. So I hear you loud and clear on that. But that's awesome you did that. I love you even more now that I've heard that you work with children with disabilities. So keep going.
Yeah. So like I said, I did that around year 3. I just started to think I have to do something else. I can't do this any longer. And the principal at the time was, she was retiring. So she contracted me to stay 2 more years, until she retired. And the kids that I started with in kindergarten, they were going to 5th grade. They would be in another school system at that point. So I had a really good friend of mine who was moving here from Chicago to Columbus. And she asked me to go look at condos with her downtown. And I did, met her broker, and he was awesome. His name is Bruce Dooley. He owned Dooley and Company at the time. And we were looking at condos, and it was fun. It was something that was different. I enjoyed it. I started going to his open houses, basically stalking him. And he even said it. He's like, I see you more than I see half of the agents that work for me. Why don't you go get your license? And I said, I feel like I have to have money to even get into a business like that. And, coming from a teaching salary, I did not have money. So he's like, no, you don't. Just go get your license, go take the courses. So I did. I took the courses and got licensed. It was the first test I've ever actually sat down and studied for. So it was a challenge, but yeah. And then in 2006, so that was going into my 5th year that I committed to in the school system. I coached Special Olympics in the summers, and I took the entire summer off. I literally pretended like I was a full-time real estate agent, and I'm going to do this job and it's going to work. My first transaction was a condo next door to me. My neighbors were moving to Atlanta, and I was jogging by, grabbed my flyer. I happened to be home. I showed him the property, and he ended up writing an offer on it. So my first deal, I got both sides of a $280,000 transaction.
Holy shit, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm fucking rich now, so this is great.
Loaded.
So it was also scary, leaving that secure job. I know that was one transaction, and I didn't know where my next one was coming from. But you live smart, and you don't go to Vegas or go buy your nice fancy car with your first commission check, and holding back money for taxes, all those things that you really don't think of when you're employed by a company.
I think that's so important and so valuable for you to say that, because a lot of people do that. They get a bucket of cash and they just blow it. And so smart of you to hold on to that and use it properly and put it in the right places. So love that you said that. So your story can relate to so many of my listeners who are just getting started. Maybe they are starting out as a real estate agent, and you were a teacher, or you worked with special needs kids, and then you worked in doing the Special Olympics, and then you just kind of slipped into doing this. And now I know where you have come through all this. So when did you start scaling your business? What was the very first hire that you did?
My very first hire, starting in 2006, and as everyone knows, 2008 was a terrible time in our market. And I was at a networking event, and that was one thing that was taught to me pretty early on, is to go network, go make yourself uncomfortable, go to anything and everything you can.
Jamaica, Dominican Republic,
all those places. Even in your local networking. And I happened to be talking to an attorney who was talking to me about foreclosures and short sales. And at that time I was like, I don't know what that is. So I did a little research, went home, and I ended up calling her because she was, I could tell she was overwhelmed, inundated with them. And I called her and I said, how could I help you work through these short sales and foreclosures? Because who's listing them for you? I mean, at some point they have to go on the market. So her and I sat down, talked, and I started working her short sales through a short sale company. And that was extremely depressing. I mean, you have to claim a hardship to a bank, and then the bank decides if they would like to take less than what is owed on the property. So you're constantly just battling people's hardships and fighting for them with a bank. So I did that. And I said, that's the first time I scaled, because honestly, I was at the point where I'm either going to get out of the business. My parents owned a bar in the Akron area. And I thought I could go work for them. I could go run the bar. And because, I mean, the Columbus market did not get hit as hard as other outskirt markets. But still we were hit pretty hard with the economy and the way the economy was. So that was, I would say, the first time that I truly had to scale. In my mind, I'm thinking, am I going to get out of the business at this point and go, because I didn't know where the business was going.
And this was 2006, you said, or 2008? Where was this?
This was around 2000, late 2007, 2008. When our market was really down.
Right.
So I teamed up with an attorney. I ran short sales. I ran foreclosures. I did that 7 a.m. until 1, and then I worked my real estate business in the evening. And I would say that's the first time that I had to make a true shift in my business and scale my business differently than what I had ideally planned.
So I know what you picked as your badassery bestowment to share with my listeners, and I think this is a perfect segue. So give us what your badassery bestowment is.
A badassery bestowment is to never keep your income in one basket, basically. So what I have done and what I've learned to do just from other badass people you surround yourself with is you don't always I'll never have my business in one cup, basically. So yes, in the middle of a global pandemic, I bought a restaurant. Why not, right? The opportunity was there. So, I know we're not going to stay COVID locked down forever. So bought a restaurant, and then I also bought a show bar. I saw an opportunity there as well. The space that they were performing in was no longer producing. So I bought my own space and redesigned it, recreated it, and that's going very well. And then also in my real estate business, adding value was a huge thing for me in my real estate business, because there are so many real estate agents. I wanted to know how I could add value to other people so they wanted to work with me. And, especially working with investors, you get other agents walking in on the property saying, oh, I know you work with Misty, but I'll sell your house for 1%. And when you come down to the bottom line and there's overages on lumber construction, and 1% sounds lovely when somebody walks through the door. So adding value too is one thing that I had to do in my real estate career, to set myself aside from other people as well.
So jumping back to, when the bubble burst in 2008, you were considering going back and working at your parents' bar. So what changed? What made you decide, no way, I'm moving forward? And how did that make such a difference for you?
Well, I went there for a weekend. I worked. Oh. I was like, hell no.
That'll do it.
Yeah. No, for me, honestly, it was my broker at the time. I was with Keller Williams at this time. And I was talking to my broker, and I was like, look, I'm struggling. I don't know, I'm not a seasoned agent, right? I'm still pretty new in the game. And she said, you can't get out of this business, Misty. You're great. Yes, we're all in a downturn right now. I took a course called Bold, and that was given through Keller Williams. And she sponsored me for the course. She paid for it. And she said, when you get your first commission check from after this, you can pay me back. And that changed my mindset. That got me out of the rut that I was in, because it's easy to do when you're out there in your own business and you're just running on your own. You don't have, the manager to go to, you don't have somebody else setting your schedule. So that course to me changed my mindset and changed how my trajectory of I can do this, I will do this, and failure is not an option.
I love it. So tell me about all your businesses you own. Because I know about the bar, I know about the the restaurant and the show bar, but tell me about all your real estate businesses, because this is where you truly diversify. So share all of them with us. Let's hear it.
Okay, so like I said, working with investors, having to set yourself aside from other agents. I definitely didn't want to be this agent that put a sign in the yard and say, hopefully your property sells. In working with investors, I needed to scale my business to add those things. And, I first started working with Austin Rutherford, who's another badass in our market.
Total badass.
And he was 21 at the time when I started working with him. So I listed his first property. I was like, this is okay. And then the second property, same thing, same light fixtures, same wall colors, literally same everything. And I'm like, you're wanting to do multiples of these. Every one of them cannot look alike. And he's, well, why can't they look alike? I have a spreadsheet and I just move all my SKUs from one spreadsheet to the next, just change the address. And I was like, well, that's not going to happen. It's, the gray walls, the white trim, the 2-pack boob lights, those are not going to sell the properties multiple times over and over again.
I like to call them titty lights, by the way. We call them titty lights down here in Raleigh, but go ahead, continue.
Titty lights, boob lights. Yeah. Right. I asked him and he said I was too expensive.
Oh.
So I said, he said my taste was too expensive. So the light fixtures I wanted to put in, he's thinking oh my gosh, that fan's going to cost us $500. I said, give me a budget of $1,500 on light fixtures and let me design my own property and we'll see who's right. So we did a property together. We had multiple offers on it. I stayed within budget and he was very happy with it. And that's where I saw something there, because working with other investors, it's the same thing. They're all like, well, who cares what this looks like? Who cares what the light fixtures look like? Every buyer that walks in the door cares. So I saw that there was a need for that.
And you won, basically, because you got multiple offers and you showed him.
Oh, yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. No, I totally know. Yeah. Yeah. We did that house together. And then, we just ran with it with multiple houses, and then working with other investors. It's something that I saw a need for, and I wanted to implement a team of people so I could scale my business and grow it from there. So full-time design person on staff, she initially came to me to wanting to stage properties. Then we'd walk properties and she would have a little bit of input. I'm like, I think she gets my vision.
Is this Amanda?
Yeah.
Of course. I met Amanda and love Amanda, but continue. I'm sorry.
Yes. So really finding somebody that could take my vision and then put it on paper, because a lot of times I walk properties and just talking to other people. Yeah, we're going to take this wall out. Here's where the kitchen's going to be. They're like, I don't know what you're talking about at all. So having this conversation with Amanda, I was like, she can see it as well.
Love it. So you got a designer on your team, and she also does staging. And I think you said something about photography. So what other avenues do you have producing money for you here?
So Mission Design and Staging, that's the staging company. And the mission part of that is giving back to the community. So Amanda will take the furniture that is, we've already used or we're just tired of using in homes because we want to keep it fresh. And we donate that to Kaleidoscope Youth Center.
Awesome.
And, it's kids that have aged out of the programs, and they're getting their first apartments. So we'll fully furnish their apartments for them. So that's the mission part of it.
That's awesome. Love it.
And then we have Mission Stays. And Mission Stays is property management and Airbnb.
Oh, okay. I love me some short-term rentals.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Four Walls Photography, that's April. She used to be my assistant for a couple years, and really photography was her passion. And so Four Walls Photography as well. And that's another thing that, as an agent, I offer professional photography and the 3D tours.
You have your hands in so many buckets. I love it. And that's such a great badassery bestowment to tell people to diversify and not just stick with one thing. Because I think that really benefited you back, when the bubble burst. And that's what made you stay as long as you have and become as amazing. So you were talking about working with investors. And I remember you mentioning a story that you've had to really start being more selective. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think, with anything, when you're new in the business and when you're starting something new, I would take anybody that was breathing and wanted to work with me. I was like, yes, you want to work with me? Let's do it.
You have a pulse, you're in. Go, do it.
Once you start to, and that's a mindset thing too, is working. What's your dollar per hour, and how much is this person actually paying you to work with them? Because some people are exhausting and you don't work well with everybody, and that's okay. It's nothing wrong with them, nothing wrong with you. It's just some people you have a different vision, so you work differently together. And there have been some investors that have truly drained and sucked the life out of myself, my assistant, my entire team. And scaling the business, I don't have to work with those people. I don't have to work with the people that drain me, because at the end of the day, that person that drains me and, is taking up multiple days a week, and I don't care how many projects they're doing, if you calculate that dollar per hour, it's no longer worth your time anymore. And when my team's upset, they're treating them differently than how they would treat me. It's those people, it's not worth it.
Right. And I think that's so important. You said, what is your dollar per hour? What is the value to you? And that's a lot of people don't think time is money and effort and dealing with someone and the headaches they cause. And so, as far as you've come in your business, I see how important that is, and what value that brings is to be selective in who you work with. So that's awesome. So you're a real estate agent. You are like a one-stop shop for investors. Do you flip houses yourself?
I do. So
how many projects do you have going on right now?
I have 82 projects going on right now. Yeah.
Oh my God. See, people, like, I was hanging out with her in Jamaica. We were swimming with the dolphins together. I had no idea the badassery that was next to me. So you have, would you say 82 projects going on right now? Holy shit. That is amazing. So that leads me to the second part of this, because that's going to help me figure out how I myself, because like I said, I want to be you someday. So I always like to find out what makes you a badass, and it's an acronym. And the first one is book. What is a book that has made a difference in your life?
Think and Grow Rich. I'm looking over here at my shelf. That book certainly changed my mindset. And
Napoleon Hill, he's the man.
Yeah, Napoleon Hill. That's right. Think and Grow Rich.
Think and Grow Rich, yes.
Yeah. That I was never really, I'm still not, I'm not a reader. But I'll definitely listen to the book on tape. But yeah, that book had changed my mindset in how to think of your dollar per hour. How much are you worth, and how much are the people around you worth, and the friendships, all the relationships around you.
So true. And you and I both coming from the education world, where it's like, you work paycheck to paycheck, and then just having to do that total shift to bring wealth in, and that, you're not being greedy and all that stuff. And so it's such a great book. All right. The first A in badass is advice. What's the best piece of advice you have ever received?
Not to give up. I think that is, It's easy to do, especially in those harder times, harder days. It's easy to get down on yourself and say, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe I am. Because I had a lot of haters when I first started in real estate. I came from a very secure job in a great school district. So when I quit, I mean, family, friends were like, what the hell's wrong with you?
Right.
But, you know, take that vision. You know, you talked about vision boards. Take that vision and keep it in front of you and don't give up on that.
I love it. I love it. All right. The D in badass is drive. What drives you to be successful? Because you are so successful. So what drives you?
Driving me is what drives me is helping others. You know, I look at the people on my team. I look at the things that we can do financially for other people, and teaming up with places like Kaleidoscope. You know, the show bar that I opened up, there's a lot of young kids in there that don't have a place to perform. And that's their outlet. Really, my drive is helping people and providing for others. That's what makes me tick, and it's what keeps me going.
And I think when that woman, I think it was a woman who paid for your course that you took, and then now you are giving that back tenfold to your community. And that's just outstanding. And I love it. I love you even more, Misty. The next A in badass is aspiration. I'm a huge goal setter. So what is a goal that you are currently working on?
I have a goal, and this goal was my 2020 goal, but it had to move to 2021, to write a book.
Oh.
So that's something that I've had in the works here for a little bit. And then my other goal is to really take what I do in the real estate aspect and be able to put it in a course that could then be sold to other investors, other agents in other markets. I mean, I'm only in the Columbus, Ohio market. So going to these masterminds, meeting other people, talking to other people, that's, I would say, the number one thing that comes up is, man, I wish my real estate agent did that. Man, I wish, you know, you lived in North Carolina. I wish.
I do wish you lived in North Carolina.
So I'm working with a consultant now who's followed me around, who's got in my brain like no one has. I mean, she digs pretty deep to put all that stuff on paper and make it, you know, interesting for somebody else to purchase. And I have no problem traveling and training. And I think that's a goal for me, you know, within the next year and a half, to have something that in these courses, in these masterminds we go to, I can speak about, and it's a course that would translate to other people.
And that's such a specialty, to be a real estate agent and work specifically with investors. Because a lot of times investors scare the shit out of agents and just like, why, you know, and for you to have this whole one-stop shop and just make it so much easier for the investor, that's such a specialty and such a gift to share with people. What is your book going to be called?
Mom, are you awake yet?
Oh. So is this about real estate?
It's about real estate. Actually, it's not. It's about you being awake. It's about you being awake in your own business, in your own relationships, with family, with friends. Yes, it's all going to tie into real estate and being awake in your business.
I love it. Can't wait to read it. I will be the first one buying it. So the first S in badass is systems. Now, before our call today, you had an assistant reach out to me. So I know you have a ton of systems in place. So tell me what systems you have that help you to achieve success.
That biggest system is an assistant. That is full-time.
I want a Bill in my life.
I'll need a Bill in our lives. Yeah, Bill is, he really makes the operation work. He's in the office. He's the man behind my computer, behind my emails. You know, when I'm out walking properties, looking at properties, he's taking me from contract to close. and he's gotten a lot more comfortable talking with investors and talking to our clients. So yes, hiring a full-time assistant. And I hired a business coach, and they looked at my numbers and they said, Misty, you don't have an assistant. And this was in 2010 is when I hired my first assistant. And I was like, no, I don't have an assistant. I do all this on my own. I'm running my own business. And I was so far in my own way that I couldn't step outside of my own path to even hire somebody and to train somebody to work next to me. And that was a scary thing, to have that first hire, but it's the best thing I ever did, was hire a full-time assistant.
I'm such a control freak. I would be like, oh, can I trust someone to do my work for me? So that is amazing. And thank you for that. And another thing you said is you hired a business coach, and it's so important for the listeners to know that when you start scaling and you become this, but you still need to continue and invest in yourself. So tell me a little bit about that experience, just real quick, about the business coach.
Yeah, you have to invest in yourself, continuously invest in yourself. You're always learning, growing. I mean, this business is always growing. And no matter what you're doing, I have to have somebody else to bounce those ideas off of, or, I come up with ideas all the time, crazy business ideas, and I can take that to my business coach and be like, what do you think of this? And okay, scale it back. We're working on this. We're in this path right now. But yeah, I think hiring a business coach was absolutely life-changing. It made me feel so uncomfortable in my own business that it allowed me to scale and get more comfortable and grow my business.
Love it. Thank you for sharing that. All right. The last S in badass is success. What does success mean to you?
Success to me is I guess my best form of success is helping others. I listen, I see things in other people, and I'm huge on goal setting. So I have a team of buyers agents that, they come to me every year. We talk every week, but their main goals for the year, and really helping them succeed and obtain those goals. And when other people around me are successful, that makes me feel successful.
Well, I am honored to call you friend. When I heard you were going to Dominican, I was like, oh my goodness, she's going to be my best friend now. But thank you, Misty, so much for sharing this. How can our listeners find you?
Instagram is Misty Linn, and Linn is Linn, Realtor. And yeah, my Facebook page. It's all my handles are my first and last name. So it's just Misty, and Linn is Linn.
And you are going to promote this book when it comes out, and your course and all that fun stuff. So that's the best way. They can just follow you there, and that's how they can learn when they can sign up for these things.
Absolutely. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook. My website is mistylinn.com. And yeah, keep in touch that way. Well, and real estate company is Core Ohio. That's the other business I own, the real estate company, of course. So
you said Core Ohio?
Core Ohio. Yep.
Awesome. So Misty, thank you so much for coming on today. I know I am popping your podcast cherry, so it is an honor for me. So thank you. And that is all. Thanks for listening. We will catch you on the next episode. Now go out there and share your badassery. And don't forget, make it a great day. Take care. Bye-bye. Whoop, whoop.
Thank you for listening to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. If you need more badassery, you can follow Jen Josie by visiting therealjenjosie.com or become a member of RAIN by registering on rainmastermind.com.